Hello, everyone out there, and welcome back to my channel. Today, the title of my message is The Best is Yet to Come. The best is yet to come, and today is Friday, March the 29th. And on this Sunday coming up, we're going to be celebrating Easter because we know that Easter is not so much about the bunny rabbit and the Easter eggs and the candy and the new outfit, but it's about the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Because Jesus went to that cross so that we could be resurrected into a new life in him. And so that we could be reconciled back to God. And so that's a reason for us to celebrate. And so I want to go right into the message. As I said, the title is The Best is Yet to Come. And so I wanted to encourage you all today to tell you that things are going to get better. Things are going to get better because a lot of people are going through things that they don't understand right now. But God has a way of revealing things to us when we go through the right way. He has a way of showing us why we had to go through certain things. And we, being a Christian, have to know that you are going to go through. You're going to go through. But the thing is to keep going through. Because nothing that we go through is for nothing. In vain. God has a reason for everything. And you have to know that if you are in the hands of God, that you are in the best hands to be in. And that God is more than able to keep you. He's more than able to keep you. So know that things are going to get better. God is able to keep us through hurt, through pain, through the ups and downs of life. And I know this for myself because of the things that I have been through. A lot of times when we going through things, we just, that's just all, it's just our main focus. It's the thing that we are focusing on. But God, he knows how to bring us out. He knows how to bring us out. And I just remember when I was going through, because God knows, I can testify that God has helped me to overcome being depressed, being betrayed, just going through pain and just torment. And when I just remember when I was in the midst of those things, wanting to give up, getting to the point where I wanted to give up, but God wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me. And the Bible talks about how God is near to the brokenhearted. And so God was so close that I actually could literally feel God with me. And God helped me to hold on. He helped me to hold on. And once he brought me out to the other side of that thing, he gave me understanding of why I had to go through what I had to go through. And so I came out of that thing with a testimony and a better understanding of who God is. And so no trial that we go through is for nothing. And so, as I said, the best is yet to come. In 1 Peter 5:10, it says, "But the God of all grace that have called us into his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after you have suffered a while, he will make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you." And so there's a reason for everything. There's a reason behind everything that we experience. In 2 Corinthians 4:17 and 18, it says, "For this light affliction, that is but for a moment, working for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. For we look not at the things that are seen, but the things that are not seen. For the things that are seen are temporary, but the things that are not seen are eternal." Eternal. So whatever you are going through right now, know that it is temporary. You know, when we're in the midst of things, it seems like we in something that is gonna never end. There's no ending to what we are going through. But once you come out of that thing, if anybody have it, I mean, so many of us have been through things. Mostly everybody. If you haven't been through something, you're gonna go through something. But once you come out of it, especially if you have went through it with the right attitude and not became bitter because of it, that thing will seem temporary, because now you don't even think about it anymore and you are past it. So it was indeed temporary, even though it might have been, you might have been in it for a long time. And so things are going to get better. The Bible talks about David and how David, you know, David went through a lot. If you haven't read the story of David, David went through a lot before he became king, an actual king. And in Psalms 27 and 13, it says, I had fainted unless I believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of living. So you know that he had to encourage himself. He had to encourage himself and not lose hope, because he knew deep down that things would get better for him. Even though at that moment he went through a lot. David went through a whole lot. Because Saul, the man that had mentored him and who he looked up to as a father figure, actually turned on him and tried to kill him. So David was out in the woods running from this man, hiding, all of that. You have to read about it for yourself. But it did get better for David, because David became king still. Even despite Saul, he was envious of him. And he knew that he was going to replace him. And so he tried to destroy David, but God didn't let it happen. And so, as I said, things got better. And so we have to encourage ourselves when we are going through as well. Because a lot of times people are not going to be there to encourage you. And also, it says in 1 Peter 1:7, to rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, you are in heaviness through manifold temptation, that the trial of your faith, being more precious than gold that perish, though it be tried with fire, might be found into praise, honor, and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. So know that things are going to get better. Because a lot of times, as I said, we want other people to encourage us a lot of times, but we have to encourage ourselves, because God never told us to depend on other people. And we have to know that God is our help. He's a present help in a time of need. And so He don't want us to be putting our trust in people. I don't care who it is. Will He have people to help us at times? Absolutely. But He don't want us to put our trust in people, because the person might want to be there for you and they can't. You know what I'm saying? And so then we mad at people when they not there for us. But God don't want us to put our trust in people. And so I want to read in 2 Kings, the 7th chapter. This is not a very long message, but this is the message to encourage you. In 2 Kings, the 7th chapter. And I want to read that 1st through the 9th verse, because this was a time when the people of Israel, they were going through a great famine, and they didn't think things were going to get better for them. It didn't look good at all. But God turned their whole situation around overnight. Because as I said, God is our help. He is our help. And so I want to read. And for anyone that is new to the channel, I read out of the King James Version. And it says, Then Elisha said, Hear ye the word of the Lord. Thus said the Lord, Tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel in the gate of Samaria. And see, at that time, they didn't have any food because it was a famine. It was a famine. And so many of them had died at this point as well. And so they had lost hope. And so it says, then a Lord whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, behold, he didn't believe what the man of God was saying. And it said, behold, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, might this thing be? And he said, behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shall not eat thereof. So because he didn't believe what the man of God said, he was not going to experience the goodness of God. And so we can't lose hope even when things look bad. And it says, and there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate, and they said one to another, why sit we here until we die? If we say we will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. If we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come, let us fall unto the host of the Syrians. If they save us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die. And they rose up in the twilight to go into the camp of the Syrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. For the Lord had made the hosts of the Syrians to hear a noise of chariots, and a noise of horses, even a noise of a great host. And they said one to another, lo, the king of Israel hath hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us, which was not true. But God has a way of doing things that are impossible. In that 7th verse, it says, wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and they fled for their life. And so you never know how God is going to provide for you, because they would have never known that God would do it in this way, but he did. It was in an unusual way. And that 8th verse says, and when these lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver and gold and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again and entered into another tent, and carried thence also, and went and hid it. Then they said one to another, we do not well, this day is a day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household. And so that's exactly what they did. And so God supplied the needs of his people in it was an impossible time. And as I said, things got better for them. And so also I want to go to St. John, the 9th chapter. I want to read the 1st through the 3rd verse, because this is the story when God glorified himself through this blind man. And see, God want to be glorified through our life as well. In the 9th chapter, the 1st through the 3rd verse, and it says, and Jesus passed by and saw a man which was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? So they thought the parents had did something wrong because of the child's situation. And the 3rd verse says, Jesus answered, neither have this man sinned nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. And so I want to read One last verse. In 1 Corinthians, the 2nd chapter, the 9th and 10th verse. And it says, but as it is written, I have not seen, nor ear heard, neither have it entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. That 10th verse says, but God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searches the deep things. It searches all things, yea, the deep things of God. And so you have to know that better is coming. Better is coming for you. Be blessed. Amen. Bye-bye for now.